This bicep curl sucks, and if you've been training at a gym for over 1 year, you have either seen someone else do this exercise or you have even done this exercise yourself. So in this video I'm going to explain to you why you should probably stop doing this exercise and what you should be doing instead. So you should probably stop doing the exercise because it sucks, maybe? Yeah, I don't even know you, I don't even know why you're here, so you should probably leave. Yeah, go away, you handsome, sexy young man. Now this exercise, which is the alternating supinating bicep curl, sucks in my opinion for a couple of reasons. First of all, by letting one of the two arms rest each rep, you're basically missing out on a lot of time under tension, or TUT. This means you're basically doing small mini sets of 1 rep for each arm, and this is why so many people do this exercise. They're able to do a lot more reps, or in this case actual mini sets, thus stroking their own ego. It's like doing a pull-up for 1 rep and then waiting 1, 2, 3, 4 seconds and then doing another rep and repeating this for 10 times. Of course you're going to be able to do a lot more reps like this, but this is most likely not that efficient for muscle growth. Now some of you may note that I often tell you that increasing volume is arguably the most important factor for muscle growth, which is reps times sets times load. And because in this example you're able to do more reps, this would theoretically be better. Right? And well, you're not entirely wrong, because I do say that, but I often don't really like to go too in-depth into volume because, you know, it's pretty boring stuff, no one wants to hear that, but there is a lot of nuance to it, like the size principle, proximity to failure, and much more. For example, because of the proximity to failure, there also seems to be a minimum amount of consecutive tension required for muscle growth. Because for example, when doing 12 reps for an exercise, the first few reps won't really be that stimulative, and only the last ones seem to be mostly effective. That's because, as shown in this study, the last 5 reps or so close to failure seem to generate the most amount of tension and activate the fibers which are more likely to grow regardless of the rep range. And by doing alternating curls, you are thus increasing the amount of reps you need to do tremendously before you start efficiently stimulating your muscles. So that's why you can't always apply the volume rule if you don't know the nuances of it. On top of that, this is mainly used for progression because comparing total volume loads, so completing this equation is not really sufficient to determine what works best for muscle growth. Now we also know that cell swelling stimulates anabolic pathways like protein synthesis, which are required for muscle growth, as shown in this review by Brad Schoenfeld. And on top of that, metabolic stress also seems to have an important factor on muscle hypertrophy. This is harder to do with the alternating curl because you're letting all the metabolites escape outside of the bicep muscle, decreasing the metabolic stress. Lastly, it's a lot easier to focus on a good mind-muscle connection when you're doing consecutive reps rather than resting in between each rep. These 3 things seem to be very important for muscle growth, and by letting your arm rest, you're basically avoiding all 3 of them, which is why I highly believe that this is suboptimal for muscle growth. Now I do wanted to say that there is limited to actually no research on alternating versus doing consecutive reps, but that's probably because the only exercise where people do this is the bicep curl, which makes you think, why? Why are people doing this? For me, the evidence against this exercise is quite clear, but I'm not a big fan of completely eliminating exercises, so if you really enjoy this one, it's still okay to do this variation. But instead, I do advise you to start using both your arms at the same time, or 1 arm at a time if you like this more. Now this video is the most important one that I have ever made for muscle growth, so make sure to watch it right now.